What's going on, everybody? Let me turn this down. Welcome to Submission Fishing Live, the live podcast. I'm your host, Muto. How's everybody doing today? Another happy Thursday, one day closer to fishing. For some of you guys, maybe you've already been out this week. I'm not sure. See, we got in the house Michael Soloranzo. What's going on, man? Oos, welcome. Graham, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Oos. Spinning Rod Rebel, Marvin, welcome. Carl Black, welcome to the show. TB Metal Art. So, welcome to the show. You got the dyslexic Oos. We'll take it, dude. I know what you're talking about. It's all good here. Leonard, what's going on, man? Welcome. Current Jam, what's going on? Hey, brother, not much. How are you? Hopefully things are good. Leonard with the double Oos. That's what I like to see. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's been a good week. Short week for me. It's not really been short, but if you guys have ever been like on a 2-day fishing trip, it's like just kind of throws everything off. Like this day came up so fast. It was like one of those things where I almost forgot it was Thursday. Freaking crazy. But it's all good. That's what happens. We got a pretty good show for you today. At least I think so. Ultimately, I guess you guys will be the judge of that, right? We're just going to talk about spring fishing a little bit. Couple chill, just a chill topic. You know, we've had lots of guests the past couple weeks, so fortunately, you guys are just stuck with me today. And yeah, we'll go over spring. Some things that we're gonna have to look out for. Things that change. It's an interesting time in the fishing season. You know, it's a lot of usually it's good fishing comes up. So we're going to talk about bunch of species. We're going to go from spotties all the way to bluefin. We'll talk yellowtail, kind of different biomes and the diversity and just a lot of what spring fishing means. And a lot of it is even just having to change up some of our tactics and what we fish for and why fish are here, kind of understanding, their life cycles and their migration patterns and stuff like that. And hopefully just help us catch more fish. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So just been studying it a little bit. And this is the time of year kind of everybody starts getting into it, right? Spring comes around and then summer's when it really just pops off. But I mean, it's about to go. You already see everybody starting to come in and posting the pictures and stuff like that. So the diehards have been out there since winter, but everybody's going to start coming out of the woodwork. So hopefully we'll get on, especially if you guys are been fishing a while, or even the new guys. You know, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I may not have the answers, but somebody in here will. Yeah, we'll just learn together. Get those black belts in fishing. Kevin Boy, Fusel Oos, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. Michael Soloranzo says he has not been fishing yet. Yeah, most people don't. It's usually a weekend. Sometimes I used to get out there more in the weekday, but a little less anymore. Let's see here. Let's go over some news. There is actually some significant news stories. I'll put a link in here. The Pacific halibut fishery looks like it's opening up in May. And this is from the official California Fish and Wildlife Department. They put that out. So the Pacific halibut fishery is going to be open Monday, May 1st. So about 10 days, right? Or 11 days, I should say. That'll open up. And for those of you guys that don't know, the Pacific halibut is different than the California halibut. California halibut is typically what we're fishing for out here, but it's a different species than the Pacific halibut. And in Southern California, we don't really get the Pacific halibut, at least not that I know of. We typically have what's called the California halibut. So the Pacific halibut is a lot. It goes all the way up north. Like I've caught some actually up in Alaska. I think I caught like 2 or 3 when I went on an Alaska trip up there, and they get huge. They're like the barn door fish. But I think Central California and up the coast is typically where the fishery takes place. But this is for California specifically. I don't know what the other state regulations are, but California Department of Fish and Game, May 1st. It'll remain open 7 days per week until November 15th, or here's the catcher, until the quota is reached, whichever is earlier. The 2023 Pacific halibut quota for California. So they do a quota based on weight, it looks like. So 39,000 pounds. So 39,540 pounds, approximately the same as the 2022 quota. So it's open until November 15th or until the quota is reached. And I know I talked about this last year. I don't know if it was it 2022 or 2021, but the quota was met like really early, like almost a month or 2 months into the fishery. So the halibut fishery up here, the Pacific halibut fishery in California, got closed really, really early. And I don't remember what year it is, but it might be the same thing. I mean, it's good. It's probably indicative of a healthy fishery. So just keep your eyes on that. If you're fishing for Pacific halibut, you guys are up in northern and central California, it'll be open. And I think there's probably going to be a rush. I've never fished for them, so I don't really know what the fishery's like, but I would imagine there's a rush on these things, especially if there's a pound limit. So I don't think there's, some states and other places do like a lottery where you get so many tickets, or you can buy the tickets, or you can sell them based on how many fish you can catch. For this, it looks like I think it's just poundage. So there's probably going to be a lot of competition so people can go out and get theirs, especially if you're not guaranteed one with a ticket or anything. If you can go out there and crush a whole bunch of fish, that's probably the way to go. And it doesn't, I don't know how it's reported though. It doesn't say. I don't know if you're like supposed to report a halibut. Yeah, I don't know if you're like supposed to catch one and report it, or they're probably just doing estimation. Regulations for Pacific halibut automatic. So they're controlled by the federal regulation. So that's something new. Keep an eye on that if you guys are up there. And California halibut, they've got the round. If you guys can tell the difference, I don't know if I have a picture, so it'd be kind of stupid to explain it. But the California halibut's got the dorsal fins and lower fins they're round, almost like a circle. That's the California halibut. The Pacific halibut have like a diamond. Their fins make like a point, so they're kind of diamond shaped. So if you pull up a diamond shaped halibut, most likely Pacific, but those get really confusing too because there's like sand dabs and there's turbot, like the turbot fish. That's really diamond shaped too, and they are actually down here. But man, that stupid fishery with the flatfish, it's one of those things. Like if you catch a California halibut, they have to be 22 inches to keep, right? But there is no limit on like sand dab, and like the turbot, stuff like that. So there's all these, or soul's another one, like a flatfish. So there's all these fish that you can keep that have no limits to them, no size limits or like bag limits, but um, a lot usually have like a 10 bag limit. But it's so hard if you don't know what you're looking at, like they all look like halibuts. And probably a lot of you guys have pulled up sand dabs or something like that, thinking they were a halibut and tossed them back. But sand dabs are like good bait too, and they're good to eat. A lot of flatfish are. Even the small sand dabs, if you guys get enough of those and just cook them whole and kind of fillet them, they're pretty freaking awesome. I know Coach talks about like the sabiki sand dabs, but it's just one of those sticky things where you got to know what you're looking for. So you don't want to pull up what you think is a sand dab or something, and you got a short halibut on, going to get that fat ass fine. Just one more thing in the wide world of confusing things. Colton C. Oos, any giveaways today? I can do a giveaway. Actually, I do have something to give away. Let me go get it. All right, I got him. I'll show you guys these things. Arnie Senko, Oos, what's going on? Artemis, Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us, dude. Cave Dog, Cal, what's going on, man? I like that. Many Ooses. Arnie Senko said, caught sand dabs with Captain Dan last summer. Did you eat them? Sand dabs are legit, man. Soul is really good too. Let's see. Salty Dangler, Oos, welcome to the show. Yeah, so that was just out of the news. Let's see what else we got. There was some more news stories. Pacific, oh yeah, just on some of my personal stuff. The Pacific Coast Bait and Tackle in Oceanside is now carrying the Slow Death Jig, so that's really cool. A lot of people up here in North County, we haven't had a dealer, so they picked us up. They got mostly the small stuff, but dropped their package off this week, and went in there and gave them some more. I mean, they were already running low on jigs. They already sold out of some within just like a couple of days. So I know some people were asking me if we had anything in North County. So if you guys want to go get them in the store, uh, Pacific Coast Bait and Tackle up in Oceanside. They're right there off the highway. Uh, cool guys, go check them out. A smaller store, but one of those places that is like smaller, but they pretty much just carry what you need. They're not like one of these places where you're gonna go find like everything, but which is cool because it's very specific. Like the stuff that they do carry is like legit. So it's not a bunch of useless stuff. But on the other hand, they're good at like spooling reels. They've got a good selection of like rods and reels and stuff too. So go check that out. And also, Dana Landing, they've been carrying my stuff for a little while, but they've actually expanded their stock. So they've been selling like hotcakes, and a lot of people have been asking if they sell like so they picked up a lot of the big jigs. So if you guys are looking for tuna fishing, big rockfish, they actually picked up some of the heavier grams. They got some of the ogres and samurais, and they really expanded their stock. So go check them out at Dana Landing. I know some of you guys too are asking about companies that carry the bigger jigs, so they do carry them, and only a few of the tackle stores actually carry the big stuff. I know like Sharkbait does, I think Island does, Tackle Express, and then Dana. A lot of these companies, they just carry like the smaller jigs, and I know people are asking about those too, and which I understand. These tackle stores, it's like you got to get in there right and show them that they're going to sell. Nobody's going to just order thousands of dollars worth of product and hope that it sells and sits. So we got to get in there, make sure they sell, get some confidence going, and then hopefully they expand their library, which looks like they're doing. So that's cool. So Dana's got big stuff now, guys. So if you want the tuna jigs or big rockfish stuff, check it out. And then let's see. Yeah, so we can do a giveaway today. We've got, these aren't even on the site yet, but it's not a real big thing, but we did get the 20 gram in the rainbow roll color. So we had a new stock of jigs come in, and we just got some of these printed out. I don't know if we'll make them permanent color or not, but I just thought it was cool. A lot of people like the rainbow roll, especially on the big jigs. I like them a lot. So we just got, and it's only the sumo. I just got a run of the sumos printed. So we'll hopefully put them on the site in the next day or two. So yeah, I'll give a couple of these away. All you have to do is type "oos" in the chat. It means that you've liked the show. And then we will go through, put your name in the main name generator, and choose somebody. So if you guys want to shout out winning some of those jigs, you know what to do. Type the "oos." Oh yeah, and they have the 8. That's right. That is right. They have the 80 gram ogres. Those are, man, those jigs are they're so badass. The 80 gram ogre is like one that I just see, and it was like so much cooler than like I thought it would be. Once I actually like saw them in person and stuff, it was like these things are legit. So those are perfect for like yellowtail, even some of those small schooling tuna. Be all over the thing. So Dana's got them, man. Good stuff. Prices there are cheaper than most places too. Which place? The Pacific Coast, yeah, they actually are 100%, which is pretty cool because a lot of times you hit stores and some of these places are charging premiums for stuff. So yeah, check that out. Fishing Reps, Oos, welcome to the show. They're really good at Pacific Coast. Usually have the dope and surf. Yeah, they get a lot of surf fishermen there, for sure. I think more than a lot of places. I think just the proximity to where they are, because they're not near like the big landings. They're near Oceanside Harbor, but Oceanside typically don't have, I think, like 2-day boats. They usually don't chase tuna, so they really focus in on like some of the lagoon fishing and surf fishing, and they have the tuna stuff too, but it's not like Dana Landing or Seaforth or Fisherman's Landing where you just go and like you're right there at the dock getting ready to jump on a 2-day. It's a little different. If they got them for sure. This mission is firing. Yeah, dude, it's been doing pretty good. I can't complain. Thanks to you guys slaying all those fish on those jigs, man. Word gets out. Let's see here. Dinks, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Oh, now everybody's typing "oops" on. Everybody wants the jigs now. Want that giveaway? Heck yeah. We see you. Kiwi Reacts, what's going on, man? Were you here last week? I feel like I haven't seen you in a little bit. Maybe you have. I've just been probably sleeping. The Judge, Oos, welcome to the show. There you go. Yeah. Everybody typing "oos" will be entered for the giveaway. I usually do that at the end of the show too. So if you do get it because somebody did won it last week and they didn't reach out to me. So you at least, if you can't stay for the whole thing, at least go check out the replay or something so you can um, hit me up. Just send me a message on Instagram. If you win and you've like ordered from me before, I'll have your stuff, or I know who you are. I'll have your info usually already. But if you're new or you haven't made any orders, or I don't know what your name is based on your screen name, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. You're always here, bro. That's what I thought. I feel like, are you sure? I think you've been sleeping. Don't be sleeping on us, Kiwi. Glad you could join us. I think there was, one more news story before we get into it. There was, this actually just popped up right before I came on when I was looking for more news stories. And it's probably not too relevant for some of you guys, but to me it is. And that is the founder of Arima Boats passed away. And his name was Jurichi Arima. And he was the creator and the designer and everything of the Arima boats. And he passed away. So Arima Facebook put in a little blurb like 6 hours ago. So I didn't even see that. So I'm an Arima boat owner, and this guy makes a badass boat. And I know they sold the company, a couple years ago, I think, to Defiance, but they're still the same design. They're still made in the same factory in the same way as the Arimas were. So Jurichi Arima, you guys want to see the story, you can check it out on their Facebook. Just says, we're heartbroken to announce founder of Arima Boats. I'll put this up so you guys can see. We're heartbroken to announce founder of Arima Boats, Jurichi Arima, has passed away. His contributions to sport fishing boat industry will not be forgotten. In 1976, Jurichi Arima founded Arima Boats with his business partner, Don Gross. Together, they built a reputation for quality, innovation in the boating industry. Arima Boats quickly became known for their durable and seaward vessels that were designed to withstand the rough waters of the Pacific Northwest. Over the years, Jurichi Arima worked tirelessly to improve and refine Arima Boats' design. He was passionate about creating boats that were not only safe, but reliable and also comfortable, functional for boaters of all levels. His commitment to excellence and evidence is in every boat. So his legacy will live on through the boats that bear the Arima name and the countless memories maybe aboard them. Our thoughts and condolences go out to his family and friends and colleagues in this difficult time. So that was more of a personal story for me because I have an Arima. And what's crazy is my first boat I've ever owned was the Arima. And I chose it based on just the research I did, primarily the size, the shape, and just how it runs. And it's the first boat I've ever owned. So to me, it's like, I don't really know any different as far as boats. I've been on a lot of charter boats, but I'm not like a boat guy. I haven't grown up like on a bunch of private boats and stuff. But what's interesting is like Kevin, and I know they're good boats because Kevin has gone out. Kevin's captained my boat. So we've gone out, and Kevin knows boats. Kevin Nakata in here, Fishing Reps. He owns a Skipjack. He's owned multiple other boats before, and he knows like what he wants. He knows like every brand of boats, like way more than I do. And Kevin usually captains my boat on the way back. For whatever reason, we go out. I let him pilot it on the way back. I usually drive out, and we were in some choppy ass seas the last couple weeks. And we're in my Arima is only 19 feet. It's a pilot houseboat, and we were out there. I mean, nowhere near land, miles out. We were in both weekends, really rough ass water, and even Kevin was saying how Kevin was impressed like how the boat handled. He was just like, dude, he was like, a 19-footer should not be able to handle the water like this as well as it does. So I mean, that was impressive to me and gave me a lot of confidence because this is a guy that knows boats, his own boats, and he was really impressed with the Arima. So it's just a little personal story that came on right before I came on the show. So shout out to Jurichi. You made a badass boat, and your name's on all these boats forever. So be proud of your legacy. Family can be proud. That's good stuff. Thing that is sad news. Yeah, man, that dude, he was a pioneer. He built some badass machines for sure. Carl Black, great boats. Watched last weekend's show. Scent Part was awesome. Oh yeah. Don't tell that to Kruger, dude. He'll disagree with you. Bozo the Clown, boring, useless junk. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the boring, useless show. Glad you can join us. Hopefully, it'll put you to sleep quickly. Then you won't have to watch anymore. Band Hammer coming. No, you can stay, dude. I want Bozo to take a nap so he can continue listening. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good. Yeah, Aaron's funny, dude. You know what was cool? It was like the I liked having everybody on. If you guys don't know, we did a show like a spotty kind of roundtable, and it was good. I like that there was disagreements and everybody had kind of different opinions. You don't want everybody on that like just agrees with each other, and then everybody has a boring show because they all like the same colors and the same scents, and it was cool. What I love about Aaron is like he's so opinionated about things, and like in a cool way. Like he'll die on that sword, man, and he believes what he believes. So it's like he don't use sense. He doesn't believe in like the pressures. Um, like barometric pressure changes or any of that stuff. And what's cool about Aaron is like he's really raw. Like he's just like, dude, he'll just go fish. And I know it's part of his philosophy is he's not really concerned about like a lot of those, like a lot of intricate factors. And that's his style, which is cool. His other people are really scientific about it. Like I think Nick was more, right? He was into like the sense and the color. Like Aaron was like, colors don't matter, scents don't matter. And Aaron was like, oh, scents matter, colors matter. It was cool because they both catch fish. I mean, they both slay, and that's what the cool part is because you can see the different um, personalities and different styles, but both catch fish. So there's not one way to do it. There's not one perfect way. And even Brian, had different techniques. I just thought that was pretty cool. It's like there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, right? No wrong way to catch a spotty. Well, maybe there is. Yeah, dude, it's cool. Dansky said, "What's going on, man? How did you come up with the name Submission Fishing?" Welcome to the show, Dansky. Glad you could join us. I came up with the name because I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And there's actually, when I started submission fishing, I was only a brown belt, so I wasn't actually a black belt. I am a black belt now. But mostly there's lots of parallels in jiu-jitsu and fishing. One of the things that, for example, they're both individual sports, but they're group sports, if that makes sense. So they take everybody to get better. For example, like you have a team and you train together and you learn together. Ultimately, it's an individual thing, right? Nobody can catch your fish. Nobody can grapple for you on the mats, but you still have a group of people that you work with, even though it's an individual sport. And there was lots of parallels. The second parallel too was also like the styles. In jiu-jitsu, there's many different styles, and everybody plays different. I don't know if you guys know martial arts, but there's some people are guard players. Some people like passing guard and playing on top. Some people use different techniques. Standing, people like submission chokes, people like leg locks. And within jiu-jitsu, everybody develops their different style, and all are effective. Some were effective when there's some counter others. Some are better against others. And so it's like this rolling, it's almost like rock, paper, scissors, or like Pokemon, right? There's one always beats the other, but one is always strong against the other. And in fishing, it's the same way. There's so many different styles. Some people like finesse fishing. Some people like power fishing. Some people only fish plastics. But the thing about being a black belt, so my thing was getting a black belt in fishing, right? The thing about being a black belt in jiu-jitsu is even though you have your style, you have to be versed and understand every style. So even though I'm not a guard player, I don't do there's lots of fancy technical stuff in jiu-jitsu. That's not really my game. Is passing. I'm a passing player. I like to get on top, smash people, submit them, put them out. I have a very basic game, but with techniques that I've used a million times, so that's why it works. I don't play on my back a lot, but as a black belt, I know all those techniques, right? So even though I don't use them, you have to have an understanding of how to play guard, where they're coming from, spider guard, worm guard, fast players. And even though you don't play that game, you have to understand it so then you can beat it. And fishing, so your black belt in fishing is the same way. You can have your style, but a true black belt in fishing knows like all the styles, right? Even though they never fish live bait, they know how and they can do it if they wanted to, right? Like we all fish with jigs here, or a lot of us do. And if you're fishing with jigs and the bite's not happening, but you're really even though you don't fish live bait, you can still tie on a fly line and you know how to handle it and you know how to get that fish to swim, and then you can still get a bite even though it's not something you use. So just having that knowledge. So a long-winded explanation, that's how I came up with the name submission fishing. So we like to submit fish and get them in the boat. It's the same thing, man. You work, you grind, and you're always working for that submission. The submission in fishing is when you get it up. In jiu-jitsu is when you get the tap. You worked hard, you choke somebody out, or you got them in a arm bar or something and they tap out. And in fishing, you have to use your same techniques. You're using everything. And then once you catch the fish landed in the boat, like you've submitted the fish. So there was just the parallels. And I just like both. I like fishing. I like jiu-jitsu. It's like my two passions. So that was how I kind of came up with it. Hope that wasn't too long. Maybe I put Bozo the Clown to sleep with that story. Bozo, are you still there? Or did you pass out? Dario Simos, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Yeah, man. Sake toast to Arima-san. Banzai. But we do all like fishing. I would hope so. Do you like fishing? Brian likes to fish, but I think really Brian loves to fish. Bazooka work. That's right, man. I do both as well, but nowhere near as close to you in jiu-jitsu. It's all good, dude. You get there. The only difference between a black belt and a white belt, they say, is a black belt just never quit. And really, that's true. You just show up, keep grinding. Eventually, you'll get there. There is no like magic skill test. It's just the guy that keeps coming in, keeps showing up, gets it done. Let's see. I think that was it news-wise in my long-winded explanations. Where are my notes here? Yeah, we got all that. All right, so let's talk about spring fishing. Spring fishing, kind of our main topic today. And one of the cool things about spring is when everything changes, right? Like this is the type of year where everybody starts to come into fish, and the fishing changes in our fishery, not only just because a couple things. We get rock fishing, some regulations closed that have now opened up. Rock fishing opened up, which previously closes throughout the winter. Something it's a matter of fish coming in. Well, we get the pelagics, bluefin, dorado. They don't come in till later typically. So mostly bluefin, the tuna are here during the spring. And then the other factor is kelp growth and then even spawning of fish. So we're going to talk from bluefin all the way to spotties. We'll kind of just go down the list, things we have to change, things we can expect, and good signs, bad signs for the summer. And hopefully there'll be some good stuff. So I did go on a bluefin trip and I got 3 bluefin. We were about 75 miles out, which is pretty good. I think they even were as far up as 50 miles when I went out. This was last weekend. So I was 2 days at sea. I was able to land 3, got 2 of them on the jigs, the ogres, both the 400 and 500 gram. And then one during the day, they would only eat the fly line bait, right? I had to go to confession for my sins. I had to go into the church and ask Father for forgiveness because I had to use live bait during the day. And that happened to us last year too. And during the day, it's like the bluefin, when they're not foaming and they're just kind of roaming under the boat, the only thing they'll eat is really like a fly line live bait, because you just have to soak it for so long. But jigs were working, but we got a good one. The bigger one's crazy too. None of the big ones really were at night. I caught a 50-pounder at night, got sharked or sea lion or something pretty good. But so they're pretty close, which is a good indication of things to come. So the last couple of years they've been in, and the trend kind of continues. So that's something that we're going to see in spring that you don't normally get. So the winter, they're usually way offshore. They're typically there, but nobody fishes for them based on weather and stuff like that. And we don't get the other pelagics that early. So Dorado typically don't come around till later. And the yellowfin usually follow the Dorado either before or after, but they weren't as thick last year as the Dorado, but they tend to like a little different water changes. Now, the one thing about the bluefin and the significance of spring is that they come in the spring, but it has really not too much to do with like the water per se or the weather per se. It does, but in an indirect way. The reason the bluefin are here is because they follow the bait, and the only thing that they're following really is the bait fish. So all tuna do is eat. They swim and eat. They swim and eat. Like that's pretty much their whole life. And when the bait comes in, now the bait is the factor because the bait will follow the temperature changes, right? Uh, they go under the underground currents. They follow um, usually warmer slipstream, but the bluefin themselves aren't like that finicky. If it's too cold, they won't live there. But primarily, they're not as temperature dependent. They got the fat. They can live through it, and they actually like a little colder water. Where the Dorado and Yellowfin, they tend to shy away from the colder stuff. The bluefin don't mind if it's a little dirty, a little colder. Um, but more importantly, that's indicative of the bait is good. So that's a good sign. So this coming spring, we've been seeing a lot of like jellyfish on the surface, and there's been squid. So we've had squid beds out everywhere. They've been at the islands. They've been at La Jolla. We've been seeing jellyfish on top, and pelagics and fish love these things. They love eating the squids and the squishies. Yeah, they love eating the jellyfish. And when we're seeing the bait, that means the bluefin are here. The bluefin are here because of the bait. And that's like the key. And that's really important because when you don't see the bluefin, you're like, oh, the bait's not here. And then that's kind of indicative of the whole story. So it's a good sign they're moving up. We've been hearing rumblings that they've been closer. I can't verify that. I haven't really heard anybody. But people that are catching them early, they're pretty tight-lipped. You know, they're not going to be out there showcasing it to everybody. Usually they do after, you know, once they've like hit it for a couple weeks, but they typically keep it on the DL. So um, one thing that Kevin had kind of told me was that he called me and told me that like some of the boats were uh, running tuna trips. But the thing is, the boats that were running the tuna trips were only day boats. So that gives you the hint right there as to they probably are even getting closer because day boats can't go that far, especially ones that don't have bunks. They don't have the freezers. If they're going out looking for bluefin, um, they got word or somebody knows that they're fairly close, somewhere where you can get to within a day and make it back. So um, that was some interesting news. So look at the boats, guys. If you're seeing day boats going out for tuna trips, they're not going to go out there and just waste it. It might be hit or miss. You know, bluefin are sometimes they're just bluefin or bust and you don't get them, but they're not typically just going to go out there if they know they're going to skunk. They're going to go out there if they think they have a pretty good shot at getting them. So that's pretty good. So bluefin are here. They're moving up. So that's one of the biggest changes in spring that we can look forward to. I think one of the most exciting changes. And they are here. And a lot of the boats going down there, if you hop on a 2-day trip, even a day and a half, you got a good shot at tuna. So if you guys want to get on them early, it's a good time. The bite was okay. It was, like I said, I got 3. Our boat did not limit out, but for 28 people, I feel like we were still in the 80s. We still got like 80 plus fish, which is pretty good. And one of the boats before us did limit out. They got like 104 fish for like 20 something people. So they're definitely there, and it's a good sign. So definitely, bluefin's a good change. The bait's coming in. That's good stuff. So that's one of the bigger spring updates we have. Is bluefin are here. So it's go time, boys. Go get those jigs ready. Let's see here. Side note, Muto, what is the name of your plumbing business? True Plumbing. TRUE Plumbing. Flow Roll, you won the last. Oh yeah, he did. Flow Roll. Keep showing up. That's right, dude. Flow Roll. By the way, you won one of the jigs in one of the giveaways. So hit us up on Instagram. Give us your information. We'll ship something out to you. That's right. But you are right, dude. Just keep showing up. That's what we tell people, dude. But you know the same things in fishing. Just keep going up. Keep showing up, dude. You want to get better? It doesn't just happen. It's time on the water. We say it's time on the mats. You put in your time on the mat. That's all you got to do. Same thing applies. It's time on the water. There's things like I don't know. I've talked about this on the show before, but there's this thing called like hidden jujitsu. Me and my coach talk about this, and it's when you show somebody a move when they're like a white belt or something, and they can do the move, but then a black belt or purple belt does the move, and it feels completely different, even though it's the exact same thing. They're doing the exact same thing you've showed them, but it feels totally different. And it's only because of minute changes. It's somebody is turning their wrist a certain way, their hips, maybe their knees are tighter, their hips are moved out. So it's like the same thing, but it feels completely different. And it's the same thing in fishing. You got to learn that hidden fishing. Anybody can tell you how to fish slow pitch jigs. Anybody can tell you how to go fish a Ned rig or any of that stuff. But what can't be taught is the feel and the intuition that you get. Like, let's just take like a Ned rig, for example. You can be like, oh, just put it on the bottom, find a drift, and let it bounce. But once you've done it enough times, you'll start to understand, like, you'll know what the bottom feels like. You'll start to know what a bite feels like. You'll know how far out you are. And these are things that can't be explained unless you've actually done it. Same thing with slow pitch jigging, knowing what to look for. So this happened to me when I was tuna fishing. I sent it down, just bomb my jig down, and what happened? The line completely slacked out. And you guys know what that means. But until you've experienced it, that means I got bit by tuna. So I put it in gear and I cranked this thing like mad. I was maybe 200 feet down and it felt like I hit the bottom, but I've done it enough that I instantly knew that that was what that means. And I was cranking it. And even though it was loose, you would think, oh, there's nothing on there. But it was like, I knew that there was a fish. So I just kept grinding because it was probably swimming. It didn't know it was hooked yet. And if you don't, and sure enough, it tightened up. Then he realized he was hooked and the fight started. But those are the things that you can miss unless you do it. You have to do those things. You hit the fish, they bite it. Maybe you crank it and you think, oh, he's not on, and then you lose it. But those things can't be explained. They can't be taught. It's only time on the water. And you'll start to know like how your jig's moving just by seeing the tip. You'll know when you got bit by something. Then you get to a point where you even know probably what fish you caught before you even brought it up. Like in the bay, when you've caught enough, like, you know when you've hit a spotty and you know when you've got a halibut, right? Or like a barracuda. You're not always right, but most of the time you can predict when you have a certain fish just on the way it's fighting, because you've fought it so many times. You get that same intuition. So you get the hidden, we call it the hidden jujitsu. You get the hidden fishing. Just show up, man. Just keep fishing. There's no secret sauce to getting better. I'm not a black belt in fishing. That's my goal, to get a black belt in fishing. And there are some black belts out there, but I'm not at that level yet. But that's what I'm working towards, right? I'm like, I don't know, maybe blue belt, maybe purple belt fishing. Maybe higher in like some aspects, but not in all. I don't know all techniques. I don't know everything. Iron Fish, Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Muto and Kevin, that rockfish video is awesome. Totally jealous. Need to get, yeah, dude. Go get out there, man. It was deep. It's not too bad once you get on it. You can get on it. The San Diego caught a good amount. Yeah, dude, that was the boat Kevin was talking about. So just think about that. San Diego was a 1-day boat, and they're already getting on bluefin. So they're close. They're closer, obviously, than the 75 miles we were hitting when I went out on a 2-day. 30 miles or maybe longer. That's not bad, man. That's pretty good, actually. This was the story last year. Yep. Chet Prack, what's going on? Oos, welcome to the show. Like a stance in the batter's box. Yeah, man, there's so many parallels. Jiu-jitsu is just the one I know, but yeah, I guess I can throw some football ones in there, but you guys all get it. Hey, brother, I live in Arizona now. I'm going to be dragging my boat down to San Diego in mid-June. Not quite sure where I want to launch. Any pointers? Thank you. A lot of these guys can point you in the right direction. Dana Landing is always a solid place. If you want to be closer, if you're going to like fish the islands, obviously Shelter Island's a good place. That's where, is that Shelter Island or Harbor Island? I always get them confused. Let me look it up. Yeah, so Shelter Island. Shelter Island's a good launch. If you want to get out, like if you're going to the islands and to the point. Usually if you're tuna fishing, that's a good area. If you want to get south or go to like the 9 Mile. But those are probably the only places you really need to know of, unless you're going up in like Oceanside. But Shelter Island or Dana Landing would probably be. There's a bunch of other little places you can launch, but those two are perfect. That's where most people launch. So I'd stick with that, either one of those two. That's where I launch most of the time. If you're going to La Jolla, launch out of Mission Bay and Dana Landing. Let's see where you go. I heard you got taxed. Yeah, dude, I got taxed bad. At least he left the Toro. It still left a pretty good meat, so it's not all like it wasn't a complete loss. Um, but yeah, man, I paid the tax man. Hopefully, I paid him enough for you guys. We still don't know what it was. A lot of people were saying sea lion. Some people were saying shark. But think about the sea lion, like that was probably 45, 50 pound fish. Dude, there was a lot of meat. Like that thing would, I know sea lions are big and they have big mouths, but it would have had to have been eating that thing for like 5 minutes to do that much damage. And I don't think that was the case, unless there was a bunch of them that all kind of hit it at once. But I kind of think it was a shark, but who knows? Fishing rock cod Saturday on a private boat. Any depth recommendations? Nathan, I would say cabin boy. I'll get to your question too. Personally, I've been fishing deep, and I only say that because um, we've been able to fish 600 feet for the last couple years, and then not even a lot of people do that. But fishing deep is, when I say deep, I'm like 700, 800 feet, 850 feet, 750 feet. Just do a thin line. And the reason for that is those areas aren't that explored. And we've also had to stay within a zone to fish too, within, I forget the name, but there's been this like line that we've had to stay within as well. So it's actually been kind of open season this year, and it's new to fishing. So if you've got the ability to go deep, do it, because you're going to find fish that just haven't seen lures or fish or hooks in decades. It's stuff we have not been able to fish. So I'd go deep if I were you. You can always come in, and fish more shallow, but rockfish are really within any depth. You can go get them in La Jolla in like 80 feet of water. I mean, I've pulled decent vermilion in like 115 feet of water, like big fat vermilion. So they're there. And just stay away from the grounds that get hit by the half day boats, because you get little tiny ass fish. Just go look for the deep stuff, dude. Go try to find ground that hasn't been fished before. At least if you're looking for the prize fish. If you just want some meat, and you're pretty much anywhere, just go find a neat little rock pile, and they'll probably be on there. I'm an inshore guy. Can you walk me through what you do with all the meat for 2 days on a tuna boat? So basically, that's a good question, actually. So I caught 3 tuna. Basically, you want to eat the bluefin, at least I do, as fresh as you can get it. And I tell people when I give it away, as fresh as I can get it. So what I do is I give a lot of it away, and I try to give it away as quickly as possible. I put it in when we get off the boat. The boat has it in a freezer, and I have a kill bag in my van, and I fill it with 100 pounds of ice, like right when I get back. And the tuna can stay in there in the bag of ice. I just dumped mine out Wednesday, and it still was. I took the tuna out, but it was still holding ice like till Wednesday. There was a lot of water too, but there was a ton of ice. It's still freezing in the bag, so you can keep all that stuff in the ice bath for a long time. But just cut it up, fillet it up, and either eat as much as you can and give away as much as you can, and then freeze it. Put it in vacuum bags. I got kind of like a commercial grade vacuum sealer, and then I just freeze it. But yeah, I give a lot away. I gave a ton away. I gave like ton to my neighbor. I went to the jujitsu gym. Those guys love me, dude, because Monday came around and it was like I was in the back of my van like a dealer, dude. I was just handing out bluefin like crazy, which is cool. I like feeding those guys. They all love it. They love the raw fish, the pokey. They're gonna cook it. So I like giving a lot of it away. And if I have fish in the freezer, when I catch a fresh one, I'll give my freezer fish away a lot of times too. If like I have too much to give, so I'll give like the freezer fish away, and then I'll restock it like with the fresh stuff. So I'll always keep it rotating. But no joke, I've eaten tuna every day I'm probably getting mercury poisoning, because I think I've eaten tuna every day since Sunday. I've been searing it. I made pokey. I made tuna fish salad with it. I've got grilled steaks. I made it every single way. So I'm trying to pound through as much as I can. Yeah. And by the way, there is another way to do it, is you can take it to the processor, cabin boy. So I've done this before too, is that you can take it to a fish processor down at San Diego after you get off the boat. Some boats will um they'll facilitate it. Like when you get off, they'll call ahead and like 5-star processing or whatever, they'll come and pick up your fish. They'll take it and but you have to come get it like a couple days later. And when you get it, it's all cut into pieces. It's all like the sushi cuts, it's all labeled, it's all frozen. You get it in foam things with ice in it. So that's a good way too. It does cost money, so you have to pay for that. But if you want it professionally processed, there is that way as well. And a lot of people do opt to do that. So I should mention that. Only recently I've been kind of cutting it myself, or you can get it filleted on the boat. There's many different ways, but they'll take care of you with it. Many ways to do it. Shelter Island, yeah, thanks. Greetings from Newark, Captain Dan. What's going on, man? You did make it. I didn't think I'd see you. Welcome to the show. Glad you could be here. Lately, I've been slaying kingfish in the Gulf with the 80 gram. Hell yeah, dude. The 80 gram ogre? You been fishing that thing? Send me some pictures, dude, if you have. Appreciate that detailed response. Yeah, man. 300 is good. Those zones have probably been fished to hell. That's the only thing. There's not saying there's not fish on it. They're just, yeah, try 600 plus, dude. Just give it a shot at least a few times. You can always go shallow. You know, it doesn't hurt to go try the other stuff. Kind of tough on a kayak. What's that? The deep fishing? I don't think it is actually because you can. It might be harder to find the spots, but you can go up La Jolla. Just go north. You can get out of the MPA and you can go fish the canyon there. I think one of the things on a kayak, it's actually kind of easy to stay in place because you can paddle and you can go back to your line. You can circle it even though it's dropping. With a boat, it's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes to like try to maneuver it, put it in gear, put it in reverse. It's actually I don't think is as easy. It's not bad on a kayak. I fished 600 feet in a kayak, and I was just like I put my pedals in reverse, and I would stay on my line as vertical as possible, and it worked pretty well. I think you can do it. Yeah, you're gonna get the arm pump for sure. Smoked the bluefin bellies, sashimi and poke for the loins, collar. Yeah, oh dude, I made the collars too. I did barbecue a collar. That it was legit, man. I grilled it up. Heck yeah. Dude, I was dealing it like crack. It was like I have a white van too with like no labels. So like I just slid open the side door and I had my kill bag and it was like I was just handing out like chunks of tuna in plastic bags. It was pretty funny. Tuna. I've tried tuna jerky. The tuna jerky I've had has never been very good. I know a lot of people swear by it, but I haven't had any that's been like, oh, this is awesome. Probably because I've only had like the store-bought stuff. I haven't tried it myself to make it, and I don't think I've tried what other people have made either. So I know a lot of people swear by it, but like, the stuff I've had is okay, but it wasn't like it was kind of fishy. Never too much fish. I've gone 60 days straight on speckled trout and redfish. Haven't croaked yet. Yeah, that fish isn't bad. The problem with the tuna is the mercury. That's why they don't want you eating it so much. Like you could pretty much eat, I think, like rockfish and other fish like that, and even the trout, especially if it's wild caught trout and stuff, you'd be in good shape. But the mercury is what they're worried about because tuna carries a lot of mercury. Yeah, looking for something big. Heck yeah, dude. Go deep. You come all the way down to Mission Valley for plumbing work. You'd have to call the office. I don't think so. That is probably a little far. We try to stay like up in North County, San Diego, unless it's like a big enough project. But I'm not too involved in the day to day operations. Yeah, Breaking Bad. I have to watch that. I haven't seen that show. Everybody talks about it. Fisherman's Processing, not bad. Teriyaki style, nice. Yeah, I heard they can like can it and smoke it too. So some of those places they really get down. Damn, dude, we got way off topic. I'm gonna have to change my thumbnail because it was totally lying about like the spring thing. Let's see. We'll go back to like some more spring fishing. So let's talk about like spotties a little bit. So spring fishing for the spotties is one of the things that changes, guys. Is the spawn actually starts happening. Um, Usually, the fishing's good in April, but May and June is kind of like when the spawning kind of happens with spotties, and That's right around the spring thing. So what you're gonna for those of you guys that are like fishing a spotty bowl and stuff too, the spotty fishing is gonna start to change. So when the spawning happens, which is it's probably already started or going to start pretty soon. Spotted bay bass like to spawn too in the water, usually between 60 and 65 degrees. Usually, the warmer they can find it, they're going to do it. In the winter, it's hard to find. You don't really find the water that warm. As spring starts to come in, and we start hitting May, the fish are definitely going to start to spawn, which makes them stupid, and then they just eat. They're all over the place. The young ones are out, and they start to change. And usually that's when you can a lot of times put the light stuff away. A lot of you guys are fishing like the finesse stuff in winter for the slow bite, Ned rigs, drop shots, and stuff like that. But man, once they start spawning, and even all the way into like through summer until the end of summer, um, that's where a lot of like these fast power fishing, like I think, really picks up. Dock fishing tends to get a lot better in the summer, from my experience. It seems like to me they stick more to the grass in the winter for some reason. I don't know if it's a temperature thing or what, or they're chilling there, but it seems like the docks really pop off when you start hitting the summer on the spawn. But one thing you guys have to realize, and here's a tip I'm going to give you, is they start to spawn when the water reaches like 60, 65 degrees. So we've been seeing this a little bit too in the temperature change. So depending where you are in the bay can influence that. And you can see where people were catching back in the South Bay. Everybody was launching like towards the Coronado area. The MMFC did their trip. They caught like 200 fish. Kevin was back there where they caught like 100 fish, and there's just tons of fish. And then I knew that same week, in that very same time frame, people were fishing up in Quivira Basin, or not Quivira Basin, I'm sorry, like the Kellogg, that yacht club launch right there. And where the difference was, and they weren't doing well, is the point of what I'm trying to say, is they were like, oh, it was dead. There wasn't a lot of spotties there, where people just in the back bay were killing it. That was because the water temperature changed. Water in the back bay is much more shallow, and it moves a lot slower than it does over in Kellogg. And that yacht club in that basin, that's the mouth of the bay. That's where all the water comes in. The water's still cold. And it just floods that area. And the current moves so much, it stays a lot colder. It's pushing and moving. The coefficient's huge there, just going in and out, just transitioning to cold water. Not to say you can't get bit. I went out there and fished the barge and caught before I came in, I went and caught 2 spotties and caught a 15 inchers off the dock in the cold water. But it wasn't like the 200 fish days. But what you realize is the water is so much warmer in the back bay. And that's why the bay, or not the bay, that's just why the fish were popping off, because of the warm water. So as spring comes and they're starting to spawn, see if you can find that warmer water. If you're a fish finder, if you're on a kayak and it's like 55 degrees, 57 degrees, just move a little bit, just go down, or even just pick up and go down, go try South Bay. If you find like that 60, 62 degree water, it's going to be like night and day difference in the fishing. So if you're just looking for spotties and they're spawning, they're not going to spawn in the cold water. And we're getting into the spawning months. So find the spawning fish, find the warmer water. If you're in the deeper area and it turns over, I mean, you'd be in good shape, but just keep that in mind. That is one of the things that spring brings, is a lot of the spawning fish. And that goes for like halibut too. Halibut come in this time of year to spawn. And we did that halibut special a couple months ago. Actually, it's probably like a year ago. Big halibut actually live offshore in pretty deep water, but they come into spawn. And again, it's spawning season. They have kind of that same, most of the fish in the water, it's like spring, right? That's like the thing. Oh, all the babies are born and the flowers are blooming, but it's true. A lot of the fish are going to start coming into spawning too. So it's actually going to start to be a pretty good time to get halibut. Because when they do spawn, they come more shallow, even though a lot of the big ones, California halibut, live offshore. They will come back into spawn, and they come into the more shallow waters. So you're going to start seeing a lot more halibut. So that's a good transition too. If you guys like fishing halibut, or you haven't caught halibut before, they're going to start moving in and doing their spawning thing. And for that, they come a lot more coastal. So mouths of the bays are good points to get them in. Wherever there's a lot of moving water and kind of like the edge of grass, So that's another big change. The halibut fishing should pick up here pretty good. So we got the bluefin coming in. You got to change your habit and spotty. Halibut are definitely coming in full force. I mean, then we have rockfish. Rockfish fishing has been really good. Rockfish, honestly, are probably the least dependent on the weather. They don't follow the bait. They don't. I don't know, they're not pelagic. Rockfish you can pretty much catch all the time, but the difference is we can't catch rockfish all the time. So the winter, um, we're just not allowed to catch them. But one of the changes is regulations wise that has changes. So that's opened up to us. Unlimited depths has opened up to us, and in September that's going to change. We're going to lose the fishery near shore. So if you're a kayak fisherman, I would say fish near shore if you can't get to the offshore stuff, because after mid-September, we're only going to have 5 months to catch the rockfish. Then they're going to cut it off. Then you can still fish the near shore, or not the near shore, the slope and bank rockfish, but you have to go outside a zone, outside a certain zone. So get on them now, guys, because the fishing is shorter. The rock fishing is shorter for the near shore stuff. And if you don't have the means to get to it, don't wait. Go catch some rockfish while you can. Yeah, so those regulations were pretty much open. Like I said, the rockfish are probably the least dependent on. They're always there. They stay in the same spot. They don't seem to. Temperature change doesn't bother them. I think they live so deep. The water is always so cold. They're pretty well adapted to doing their thing. So yeah, we got bluefin coming in and fish spawning, halibut moving in, and I've been hearing good things. Even the yellowtail been moving into the islands. Been hearing some, outside La Jolla and stuff like that. Again, squid's been around, so the yellowtail are there. And like I said, a lot of people don't advertise that stuff, guys. They keep it to themselves. White sea bass have been popping off up in the Channel Islands, so it's just been good all around. Now is the time. If you guys want to get out and fish, I'd say go out there and do it. Everything's spawning, everything's eating bait, and the bait's good and the spawn is good. So things have changed. We're in that go time. You can see it now, right? Everybody's turned into a fisherman too, which is pretty funny. It's like you got the hardcores and then you got like the summer guys, but we love them all. We love the fair weather fishermen too. They're helping the industry. Yeah, I mean that was about it on the whole spring thing. Just look for the changes, guys, and the changes I've seen. Bluefin coming in super shallow. Got your rockfish, and just look for the change in halibut and spotties. Little things like that will get you bit. Change it up if you have to. Don't go looking in the same zones when the fishing's changed basically. Joe, how do you say that? Denseru? Sorry for butchering your name. Do you think the yellowtail bite will be on in June? Would you hit Catalina Islands with the Coronado Islands? I think it will. The bites they were kind of already there. To be honest with you, I think they'll be there in June. June's not that far. They seem to have stuck around last year. Coronado, but you know what? It's hard to say. I've had good days on both. Last year we went out like late in the season and got on them, and it was slow for most of the day, and then they just blew up, and we found them and got on them. I got one on the slow pitch when it was really slow. They were down in the mud. Yanked one up, and then once they surfaced, everybody was getting them on the jigs and surface irons and stuff. But I've been in Catalina and had the same thing where it was like they put like 12 on the boat in like the last 2 hours, and that was on the backside of Catalina. It's hard to say, man. They usually, if they're at one place, they're at the other because they kind of just move in. But yeah, just keep your ear to the ground. Look at fish reports and stuff like that. I couldn't tell you which one to hit because we just don't know. They could be in a different zone. So I would just pay attention to it and kind of decide when it gets closer to June. See what you're seeing, see what you're hearing. Chet says Spotty Bowl for me, Newport Harbor this weekend. Nice, dude. Yeah, so I didn't think there was a Spotty Bowl, but the LA, right? So LA Orange County Spotty Bowl is going on. So get on it, guys. Go hit it hard. Stimulate. Yo, what's up, dude? Welcome to the show. Second, the Navionics app on your phone. Yeah, just find a rock pile, guys. Just pull it up. Even on your kayak, it's like Just go see what you can find and just drop on it. At least it's a decent chance. I'll be coming for 5 days and fishing for 3. Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. I think you got time. If you're fishing for 3 of those days, I would just hit both the islands. Why not, honestly? That's what I would do. Try them both. Grass has been producing right now. My dock game has been poor since all the rain. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's going to start to transition for sure, but it's not to say they're always like in the grass and they're always in the docks, but it seems like they're either hot in one place or the other. But yeah, if the grass has been producing, dude, that's like stay there. I know they've been out in the open in the deep, but like South Bay, there's not really like the structure is grass and then some rocks. There's not too many docks down there. So they've been there. They've been going nuts. Graham said your buddy went to Newport today and the spotty bite was fire nonstop all day. Sometimes it's like that, dude. It might be doing their thing. Holds water temp in the back. Yeah, it's like most bays, I think. Wherever it's more shallow and wherever the water is moving the least, especially if they don't have 2 outlets. Like the Carlsbad Lagoon, for example, it's got 2. It's open on both ends, so the water continually just like it goes through. So it always kind of sucks and it's always kind of cold. But like Mission Bay and San Diego Bay, there's only one mouth, so it doesn't completely recycle. Like so that water in the back, it goes up and down, but it stays. It doesn't turn over as much. Most bays are like that too. So that makes sense. Yeah, back bays typically will be a little warmer. One thing to mention is in Mexican waters, Navionics won't have service, so having it, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Download the maps to your phone because the GPS still works, guys. Even when you don't have service, I pull mine up all the time, even when I'm on like sport boats and stuff, and it'll show your location, how fast you're going. You'll get the relief shading, which is pretty cool. So the GPS it works off of I think a different satellite than the cell towers. Because even when I'm on like your plane, you could still a lot of times see like the planes that let you use the Wi-Fi, you can still see your location just with the GPS. You should take me and your buddy out on that boat. Take you up on the Arima. Yeah, man, hit me up when you're around. We'll see where I'm at. We'll go out there. Grunions also, yeah, grunions, yeah, that's a bait thing. Grunions bring in the flatties. That's true. It's all the cycle, right? So the grunions are coming in. That's going to bring in the halibuts. They're going to just spawn while they're here, 100%. Yeah, outside the 50 fathom spot. You'll be able to fish for black cod and sable fish. Yeah, we're kind of like trying to figure that out. Me and Kevin been trying to figure out how to find those things, where they are, what they'll eat. It's because that's like a new fishery that hasn't been explored. So been out there a little bit, but trying to find some insight. We've definitely been doing our research and doing some fishing, so we want to get on them. This is kind of difficult though, but I think once we find them and figure them out, we'll have a lot more information to share on how to get on them. But you'll be able to fish. Yeah, for luck. Use your descending devices to get the illegal and small ones back down, please. Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, so always carry a descending device. It's not because it's one of those things that you don't actually have to have one. It's not against the law if you don't, but the fish aren't going to live if you just toss them in, especially if you pull them up from deep. And Arnie, one thing we've been finding, dude, is like it's so hard to descend fish like that deep. It's really been a shame. We have a descending device tied on to an electric reel, so that way you can keep it rigged up with the weights and stuff on it, and then you don't have to worry about like reeling it all the way up yourself manually. June will see kelp patty fish for sure. Oh, that's interesting, Kevin. You know what? We actually on our 2-day trip, we found a patty and it held like 5 decent sized yellowtail too, which was surprising. It didn't blow up. They fished it for like 30 minutes and they pulled like 5 out and then it kind of died off. But there was a patty that was already holding, which was crazy seeing it this early in the year. They weren't giant yellows, but they weren't the little tiny patty yellows either. They were like probably 15 pounders. It's not bad. I think that we got five yellowtails off the patties. I didn't catch one, but some of the guys did. So that was pretty cool. Dan COO. Dan COO. Halibut man, what's going on? Glad you could join us. We'll be surf fishing Sunday in SD for the first time. Any recommendations? Steven Mendoza, not for me, dude. I'm not like, I'm definitely, you know what? I'm not a black belt in surf fishing. That's for damn sure. White belt surf fisherman right here. There are some dudes I'm sure here that know what you're talking about. I've gone surf fishing. I've caught a few perch, but I'm like, that's not my jam, dude. I haven't done it enough. I see dudes catch them on the jigs. You like jigs, you're a slow pitch guy. Throw a 10, dude, 10, 15 grams. Just pop them in the surf. The thing about surf fishing is being able to read the beach and find the spots and the holes. I think that's the hardest part. You know how to fish. You've got the fishing technique down, but like, dude, figuring out like how to read all of the surfing stuff. Like I've tried it. And I'm like, I don't really. That's what comes down to time on the water, right? Like I see it, and I'm like, I think I see a rip current. I think I see a trough, and then like above, and then you walk down there, and then it all looks the same. That's definitely something I need to work on. I know I've said that for like years, and I still don't do enough of the surf fishing. But yeah, it's definitely not my forte. Steve Mendoza, yeah, Lucky Craft I hear all the time. Dropper from Lugiorm. Even like like those Berkeley like sandworms work. I know pretty well. People get like the bloodworm one, like that red color, the camo. A lot of people have success on that. Yeah, that's right, dude. As long as the maps are downloaded, GPS will work anywhere, which is super helpful. I've seen video getting. Yeah, I've caught black cod in Alaska actually. But I went halibut fishing. We caught quite a few black cod. It was cool. We caught some yellow eye rockfish too, and they're actually legal up there, so we got to keep them. We weren't 1,500 feet though. We were probably 600 feet. I don't really know for sure, but we definitely weren't 1,500 feet. But yeah, if they're 1,500 feet there, I mean, you've got to use an electric reel, dude. It might be where they are because me and Kevin found the black gills. Because the black gill rockfish are like really good eating fish. And we were looking for them, and we found them, and we found the zone where they live, and they have like a very specific zone. And so the second time we went out, we did find the black gills. They weren't huge, but we kind of dialed in their zone for that. But we still got to find those black cod, and we found the red widows. We found some different stuff too. We're pretty consistent on catching those. The release fish just become seal bait. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, something eats them, right? Or the fish eat them. We're actually bringing the fam down in June. Convince the wife to let us fish for a couple days. Maybe we can go out. You can use that promo op for your gear and channel. Yeah, there you go, dude. Just take her with you. She doesn't like to fish. Get her on the boat. By the way, eBay has a Japanese electronic Daiwa reels for 150. So much easier. 150 bucks? Oh, that's like the size. Yeah, at some point you have to use the electric reel, dude. 100%. 700, 800 feet, no problem. But once you get like that 1,300 foot zone, dude, you're just like, you've like doubled it. You've like almost doubled 700 feet. And that's too much. I thought the sending devices were required on your boat this year. Am I wrong? I might be wrong, but I think I talked to one of the guys, the Fish and Wildlife guys, because he gave me a little map. It was like when the rock fishing first opened, and I think he said it was like it. I think he said he worded it like we encourage it, we highly encourage it, but it's I don't think it's a law. I don't think it's required. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, guys. Go check it out for yourself. But I'm pretty sure he told me that it was a recommendation in that they really recommend that you carry one. I don't think you can get ticketed for not having one, to be honest with you, because I don't think it's a law. There's no law that says there's no law about descending fish that I know of. I don't think legally you have to descend fish. It's good practice. It's a smart thing to do. But I don't think by law, when you release rockfish or something that has barotrauma, that you have to descend it. That's not. I don't think that that's in the writing. I'll double check that, and I'll check on the next show. But it just says release. It doesn't say like, oh, you have to descend a fish. I know they talk about it and encourage it, but I don't think it's. I don't think you can get ticketed for it. We'll double check. Don't quote me on that, guys. Do your own research. Don't listen to me. I don't know everything, but you should have one. Let's just have one on your boat. Let's just do it that way. I have one. I carry two on me at all times, so it's like I believe in the descender. I carry one. I carry two. Um, so I'm not at all encouraging you. Oh, don't bring a descender because you don't have to. Like, just bring one. It's good practice either way, whether it's legal or not. You should be doing it. That's my kind of opinion on it. Let's see. Oh yeah, you guys got some surf fishing questions. Awesome. We're helping them out. She loves shopping. She can go shopping for jigs, dude. Take her to the tackle store. No, 150. Oh, nice. Are they used? I'm assuming, but even still, if they work, that's not bad. What do you think of the Akuma Komodo SS or the Daiwa Alexa for both near and offshore? Both are good, dude. I don't know. No, I actually own a couple Komodos. They're fine. Um, yeah, I think those are can't go wrong with either of those. Halibut Man says setting device is 100% mandatory to have when rock fishing, and especially cowcod zones. Don't get screwed. Yeah, he says they are. So I would. You definitely need one. Okay. Yeah, see, that's where I'm confused. I've never been on a sport boat that has ever descended a fish. I'm just no shade to the sport boats. I've never seen them. Maybe a black sea bass or a cowcod, but yeah, I haven't seen one. Maybe it's a cowcod thing, but I don't know. That's a regional law or all of California. Charter I went on, Captain Santa Cruz just threw him back in the water. I've seen the same thing. Sport boats here in Southern California, when you were like, if somebody didn't want to keep it or you were at a limit or whatever, they just tossed it over like they didn't care. Let's just say carry one. We'll figure it out. That'll be a good one. I'll do some research, guys, and I'll find out if it's an actual law. Um, you should have Daiwa Alexa 400 HD is 100% always on my CalStar and every boat. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Daiwa Alexa's good. I know a lot of people have those. They think they're good stuff. Jigs are fishing jewelry, right? I agree, dude. They are for us. It's like going to the jewelry store. When your wife or girlfriend walks past the jewelry store and they like stop and want to look at everything. Let's be honest, man. It's the same way when we go by tackle stores. You're like, oh, you stop and you gotta like come get you. You know, you like gotta grab her arm because you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a new necklace. It's the same thing. She got to pull you away. You go in there and buy that new rail rod for $500 and get a bunch of jigs. A descending of ice is not mandatory. I didn't think so, but you don't have to descend all fish, just protected fish like cowcod. Yeah, that makes sense. We are not allowed to fish cowcod zones in 2023. They're changing the law in 2024. I hope so, dude. Yeah, so cowcod, yeah. Cowcod in their opinion. So cowcod, you know what the thing about the cowcod is? I wish they would give us some sort of like poundage quota or a lottery. Like there's plenty of cowcod out there, guys. And I wish they would just do something like let you at least fish some or have a ticket or do some sort of poundage like the Pacific halibut. They obviously can regulate those other places. Why couldn't they regulate the cowcod, you know? Especially when they get caught incidentally and it's like trying to descend them is a pain in the ass. Carry one to show intent, then just throw them back in the water. Now, you definitely want to try to descend the cowcods, dude. They're pretty cool fish. But yeah, but what do you do if you try to descend it and it just floats back up? It's hard. The laws of rock fishing, you have to have it in your case to catch a cowcod, yellow eye, or any protected rockfish. Wouldn't recommend for black sea bass, but almost be impossible. Okay, good stuff. I don't know if you own a boat or work on one. Well, Fishing Reps is he's a member of the CCA board, and I know he owns his own boat. And I fish with him a lot. Kevin knows his stuff, man, for sure. But we always fish with descenders, so it's not a problem for us. Yeah, it's 100% rebuilt. Anybody who's been out there, it's like, they're around. Just in the last couple of years, I've pulled up big ass cowcods on incidental catch, nowhere near the cowcod zone, by the way. And trying to send one of those is like, it's one of the biggest pain in the asses you'll ever do. But we get them down, but it's not easy. Awesome. All right, guys. If you have any more questions, let's do the giveaway. I don't even know if my wife ran it. Are you doing it right now? Okay. It's almost done, guys. She's putting all the names in the thing. So we got a few minutes. I got a filibuster here. Give away the 2 rainbow roll jigs, 20 gram. For those of the survivors still here. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, guys. We're just trying to get the names in for the drawing thing. Stimulate says Dreamboat, Intrepid, 438. I have to look that up, dude. There's so many badass boats out there. It's crazy. Rainbow Roll, dude. Rainbow Roll's the sauce, dude. I think it's bit in all the colors. Fishing at Sea gonna happen this year? Yeah, we've been. I just got some dates from Captain Bill actually this week, so I got to get back to him actually and pick a day. So I think it's definitely gonna happen. It's gonna go down. We were thinking a day and a half. I think we're just gonna do the one day like we did last year. I don't know if we can get everybody or get enough people in for a like a day and a half. I'd love to do it, but I don't know. I worry about the cost, like having to charter the boat and then hopefully we sell all the tickets. A day, 100% confident we can do. But I think if we do it a little earlier in the year and not as late, we'll have a lot more luck as well. What's next for submission? New jigs, new colors coming. Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff, in the works. And we're working on an underspin, or not an underspin. I'm sorry. Like a tailspin jig. I've got a few of those. A lot of people got like the pro, not a lot. People that I know can fish. The good fishermen have the tailspin jig going. It's like a jig para or axe blade, but kind of our version. So that's being tested out. They're letting me know what blade to put on, what hooks to use, change the shape, whatever. And yet, mostly just expanding like sort of the designs we have, but to different sizes. I know a lot of people want the ogre in like a 2 and 300, kind of the smaller stuff. But yeah, I mean, new color, it's kind of just never ending. It was just sort of a bad thing because it's like I'm always adding like new things. It's like these rainbow rolls. It's like, did I really need another SKU of like the rainbow roll sumos? But I was like, No, but I was like, oh, we're making an order. We had to do another order. I'm like, just have them throw them on. Same thing happened with like the 80-gram ogres. It was replacing an order, and I'll just like, all right, let's bring these in, and I'll come up with these colors, and then he makes them, and we get them made, and he pours the molds, and the stuff just kind of sticks. But yeah, there's always stuff going on. But right now is just catching up on inventory with like the stuff that we have is kind of my immediate goal, so we don't run out. I know we sell like we have shortages, so I'm trying to like cut back on the shortages so we have enough for like tackle stores and online and stuff like that. Really, before I hit it too hard on like the new SKUs. I mean, dude, I could just go on forever making that thing. I'll do 1.5. Yeah, I think there are people that definitely will. I just know it worries me. See, the thing is, I have to like you have to deposit like the whole. You have to put a deposit like on the whole boat. Like day and a half boats are like insanely expensive. So if you don't fill that thing up and it's like you're stuck holding somebody's got to pay it. You know what I'm saying? And if you only get like a couple people or half a boat, it's like it doesn't financially make any sense. But if it's sold out, it'd be fine, and we can cover the boat payment, and wouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm just a little worried about it. Is the only thing. I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger on a day and a half yet. Submission at Cedros, yeah. A Cedros strip, I think we could sell 100% because that's just like that's so different. That's like an event sort of thing. You know what I mean? Submission Area 51. Whatever happened to that? Remember, weren't we supposed to like raid Area 51 or something, or us or somebody was? It didn't go out do well. Stimulate. So you also do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? Yeah, I do. I'm an old wushu guy. Awesome, dude. I did when I was younger. I did Shaolin Kung Fu for years, actually. When I was a small fry. The world is ready. Are they though? How many people are ready for a 1.5 day submission at sea? So the question is, would you pay? So here's the thing: a submission at sea is what, $300, 325 probably this year with inflation. A 1.5 days probably going to be like almost 3 times the cost. You're talking probably closer to like $800, not 3 times, but pretty close. So I think a lot of people can swing the 350, but how many people are willing to go fish for, like an $800 ticket? Because that's probably what it would have to cost. It's a big ask. That's the only thing. Like I know it's a big number. Not everybody can swing that. So I know some diehards here would do it 100%, but I also want like a lot of people to enjoy it too. It's hard. Like I do want to do it, but it's like when you hear the prices of like how much a boat costs, it's like it's crazy. If you never fish multi-day trips, totally recommended, especially off the Vagabond in San Diego. Most of SD bluefin tuna are biting right now in decent numbers at night. Yeah. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like an 8, that's expensive, dude. But I mean, you're talking like anywhere from 15 to 20K to like freaking charter a boat for like a day and a half. No joke. 10 day to Guadalupe was the best, and they need to open that in. Yeah, dude, 10 days is harsh. All right, guys. The verdict is in. You know what I need? I need one of those little sandboards. Brian had one. It was pretty badass. The winner, the one and only, is Captain Dan. Couldn't have happened to a better man. I don't think he fishes jigs, but you want him if you want him. You got 2 sumo 20-gram jigs. Check them out. Dan, I think I have your information, so we'll send those over. Thanks for playing, guys. You'll win them next time. Prices have gone up so much. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like you guys got to think like fuel cost. It's not cheap, dude, to charter these things. It is not cheap. Oh, he does fish them, and you won. Congratulations, Captain Dan. We'll send those things in the mail. No, thank you. I'm glad you won a great supporter, dude. We love you. All right, guys. If you don't have any more questions, we'll wrap up the show. Yeah, hopefully next show, you guys let me know. You like these more educational kind of solo shows? Do you guys like the guests? I've been kind of all over the place. Been doing a lot of guests lately. I think those are fun. I think you guys like those things, but yeah, we'll mix it up. A 2-day used to be $500. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Like you can go look at the $500. Yeah, that's maybe more reasonable. It probably wouldn't be $800. I was probably overselling it for sure. I'd have to look at the numbers, but it was like it wasn't cheap. It was definitely like it was pretty expensive because the day and a half or the 2-day that I went on, um, it was like $700 for a 2-day trip. And I know there was another one somebody went on. It was like it was pretty expensive. Yeah, the 500 days are those are long gone. But I mean, it'd probably not be 800, but it wouldn't be cheap either. It's crazy. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us. PB shoutouts, I love it. 500 is more doable. Down for 5 bills. Yeah, it'd be impossible. You could not charter the boat for a day and a half for 500 bills. I can tell you that right now. I've seen the math. I've done the numbers. There's no way. That's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of backtracked on the day and a half. Like I just don't know if that many people can swing it. Yeah, I think the trip I'm hosting for Lex Top Hookup. Yeah, you're exactly right. 750. Well, that's for 2 days. So that's not bad. So day and a half might not be that bad, but still gonna be more. Maybe in like the 600, 650 range for sure. It's crazy, man. That inflation killing us, killing the fishermen. We'll definitely do the 1 day, guys. Maybe we'll do 2 1 days or something. But yeah, hopefully in the next show or two, we'll nail a day down and we'll put it up on the website and we'll get it going for sure. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining. I loved having you. Thank you for all the support. If you guys like the show, consider becoming a channel member. That really helps out. You guys get the custom emotes, get the little belt next to your name. If you guys check out submissionfishing.com, get your jigs, check out tackle stores, guys. If you're in Southern California at this point, there's probably a tackle store near you, honestly, that carries these things. So check them out. Go get your jigs. Thanks for all the support. Just make sure your boat charter has an oven. Yeah, dude, we need that pineapple pizza 100%. Yeah, that was brutal last time. Well, if we go on the Malahini, they didn't have the oven, right? So if we did the same thing, we're going to be out in oven. All right, guys, thanks for joining. Appreciate having you guys. You're awesome. Get out there and fish. We'll see you next week. Spotty Bull, guys. Good luck. Oos.